If there is anything the England national team is renowned for, it's always having great players in their squad. Only a few other national teams in the world can boast of having as many quality world-class players as the Three Lions. But if there's another thing the England teams are renowned for, it's not winning the trophies to show for it. The new golden generation look to be struggling once again at Euro 2024. Will they follow in the footsteps of the original golden generation? England's trophy cabinet is close to empty. They've won just a single major international tournament in their whole history, the 1966 World Cup, which they of course famously won on home soil. For a national team who've produced multiple generational players and teams over the years, this is embarrassing. The reasons behind England's constant below par and expectation performances at international tournaments are unclear and multifaceted, because with the number of world-class players that have represented the Three Lions, they should be one of the most decorated national sides. Now, one of the greatest shocks in football in recent years was that England's golden generation, the early 2000s England squad, couldn't win a trophy for the Three Lions. How does one explain that? A squad filled with world-class players like David James in the net, the likes of Rio Ferdinand, John Terry, Ashley Cole, Gary Neville in defence, Paul Scholes, Steven Gerrard, Frank Lampard and David Beckham at the heart of midfield, and then Michael Owen and Wayne Rooney up top, and they couldn't win a trophy for England. It is just unbelievable. These are players who are playing wonderfully at their club and cementing their names in the books of history. All these players were not just regular starters at their clubs, they were integral parts of the successes of their various teams. Which is why it becomes all the more shocking that a squad of individual greatness just couldn't seem to work together and deliver just one title for the Three Lions. Maybe the issue wouldn't have been talked about as much if they were playing well at these tournaments and were at least close to winning trophies. One would expect that even if the great squad couldn't get any trophy, at least they would have been plagued with bad luck and still come very close countless times. But this was not either quite the case for the Golden Generation. Despite the talent of its players and their success at club level, the England Golden Generation are of course known as underachievers for their country. They were eliminated in the quarter-finals of 3 major tournaments and even failed to qualify for Euro 2008. But what could have really caused this? Football lovers, players and pundits alike have attributed the failure of the old Golden Generation to arrogance, tactical inflexibility, club rivalries or poor management. Those who played in the 2000s, the old Golden Generation, have commented on how club rivalries undermined the group performers when they joined up with England and often resulted in cliques forming. Now, it's fair to say that this current squad don't find this a problem, and Southgate does deserve credit for bringing the players together and forming that bond between them. Now, many players from that generation, such as Lampard and Ferdinand, have said that managerial issues failed to utilise the talents of the squad properly. So the big question is this the case this time around too? After all of this, England have got lucky to have a new golden generation blossoming less than 2 decades after the old one. Comparing these 2 generations, Graham Souness believes that the present generation is actually the real golden generation. He said, "This is the golden generation. Forget Frank Lampard, Steven Gerrard and Paul Scholes. They've got strength and depth. England are a really good team at the moment, and I think they're destined to get their hands on a trophy with this group of players." Now, he may well be right. After all, this current squad, the new golden generation, have reached a World Cup semi-final and, of course, the final of the Euros, where they lost agonisingly to Italy on penalties. After performing well at the 2022 World Cup and the 2020 Euros, the new generation is very close to winning England's second trophy. But will this be done in the 2024 Euros? It's looking unlikely at the moment after some lacklustre performances in the attacking sense, which shouldn't be the case at all. And many have put this down to a lack of tactical prowess and power from Southgate, as the talent on the pitch should be scoring goals for fun. The Three Lions squad going into the 2024 Euro competition was packed with great informed players who just are not cutting it on the international stage. England's captain, Harry Kane, is arguably the best striker in Europe alongside Erling Haaland. Harry Kane was in excellent form for both club and country after winning the European Golden Boot before going into the current Euros. During the qualifiers, Harry Kane was the highest goal scorer, scoring 8 goals in 8 matches. Kane, who is actually England's all-time record goal scorer, is currently England's highest goal scorer in the Euros with 27 goals. He's expected and hoped to increase this number in the 2024 edition. Another key player in the England new generation squad is Bukayo Saka. Saka, the 22-year-old Arsenal winger, was in great form in the 23-24 season. During that Premier League season, Saka scored 16 goals and provided 9 assists. He also scored 4 goals and made 4 assists in the Champions League. Now, Bukayo Saka has a lot to prove in the 2024 Euros, as he was one of the 3 players who missed their penalties in the unfortunate Euro final loss against Italy in 2020. So he will be desperately looking to make things right this year. But has he been doing so? Certainly not yet. And now Cole Palmer's looking to take his spot after a promising cameo against Slovenia. Now, a lot's been said about this next man. Jude Bellingham is a key part of this squad. Since joining Real Madrid in the summer of 2023, the English youngster has been on fire, to say the least. Bellingham's brilliant exploits at Madrid have been a shock to all. He was an integral part of the Madrid side that won the Champions League and La Liga, and Bellingham hit the ground running in his first season for Los Blancos and registered nearly a goal contribution every game, 35 in 41 matches, with his last contribution being an assist in the Champions League final, which closed the game off for Madrid. The Englishman entered the Euros as the favourite to win the Ballon d'Or and is willing to do his best so as to secure the title for England and in turn secure the Ballon d'Or for himself. Now, although Bellingham scored the only goal in the 1-0 win against Serbia, he's not really lived up to expectations. For a player who's been one of the best players during the just concluded 23-24 season, Jude's performance so far has been, to put it mildly, disappointing. Phil Foden is another important part of England's new generation team. The Man City winger was beyond amazing in the 23-24 season. He ended the season with the league title and won the Player of the Season award. Foden scored 19 goals and gave 8 assists in the Premier League, and he also scored 5 goals and gave 3 assists in the Champions League. Winning the Best Player of the Season award in the best league in the world clearly shows how good a player Foden is. But his impact hasn't really been felt so far in the 2024 Euros, from the left wing at least. So Harry Kane, Bukayo Saka, Phil Foden, Jude Bellingham, and then there's Declan Rice, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Kyle Walker, Pickford, John Stones, many other wonderful players are all part of the England new generation squad and are all present and are all underperforming at Euro 2024. In what may seem like a replay of the old golden generation script, the new generation has been below par in their performance since the start of the 2024 Euros, which begs the question, why is a team of world-class players who kill it for their various clubs finding it hard to deliver for the national team? Why exactly can't these world-class players seem to gel together? Many football fans and pundits believe the team has a managerial issue, just like the older generation did, and don't subscribe to the notion that Southgate is the best man for the job. In a poll conducted online by Britain News Channel, 72% of voters voted for the sack of Southgate after England's woeful display against Denmark. Some football fans have also blamed the ever-present English media for the team's poor performance. To them, the pressure asserted on the players and managers by the media is simply too much and affects in-field decision-making. After the group stage matches, captain Harry Kane and other key players like Declan Rice have called for the media to offer support to the players instead of criticism, and asked the pundits to remember what it is like and what it means to wear the shirt before speaking negatively on the team. However, the fact remains that despite finishing top of the group, England have been below par. So, the million-dollar question is, how can Southgate turn this around in the knockout stages?